CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4, November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0, Golf Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon on talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister and 50-23531 on the RAYNET-UK server. We're here from 4 o'clock every Sunday afternoon, and the net is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic, news, opinions, and information, and additional information can be found at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check in. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. And if you miss your turn to call in by call sign number order, then I will call for any strays at the end of the UK and the international station check-ins. So, I'll begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET UK weekly activity net as usual in call sign number order, starting with stations with figure 8. Figure 8 in that call sign, please call now. This is G4 NRC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee G8 EEY. Name is Mike. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform. Name is Bob. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out.
This is G4 NRC. I've got Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee staying with me, and good afternoon to Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, who's in and out. Any other 8s, please? G4 NRC, over.
Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie. Phone it, Greg. V8 Kelsey.
V8 KLC, G4 NRC. No problem, Phil. You're not late. You only get confused when I change the number order. Okay, you'll stay with me. Let's go down to the 7s. Stations figure 7 in their call time. Please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G98, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Zed. G4 NRC's got Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, and Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Any other 7s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, no more 7s, let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over.
This is Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, Chris in Ipswich.
G4 NRC, good afternoon, Chris. Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo. Any other 6s, please, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's try for 5. Stations figure 5 in their call time, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, there's only 1 or 2 of those, so we'll move out of the 5s into the 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call time, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over.
G4 KIL Phillips South Sussex.
and Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet.
This is G4NRC. Good afternoon, Philip. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima. I'm showing dedication to logging. Trevor finished logging your line in before he shouted himself, so G4KUJ, who's helping out with the log. Any other fours, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing, so let's go for threes. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Any other threes, please? G4NRC, over.
Golf 3 Greg, G3 VEH, Golf 3 Victor, Echo Hotel, Christian Winchester. No traffic, so in and out this afternoon, Greg. G3 VEH.
Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel. Good afternoon, Chris. Hopefully it's better weather in Winchester than it is here up in Properchester. I'm copied you in and out, and hopefully talk to you again next week. Okay, that ends the threes, I think. So let's go for the twos. Stations figure 2 in their call sign. That's you intermediate twos as well. G4NRC, over.
2E0 CMS 2 Echo 0 Charlie Mike Sierra. Calling from Midway. In and out, please, Greg.
2 Echo 0 Charlie Mike Sierra. Good afternoon, Colin. Copied you in and out, and I suppose if license conditions do all change the way they should do, you'll be enjoying it right at the top of the list rather than waiting for me to get out the twos. Okay, that's in and out for you. Any other two, please? Any other two stations? G4NRC, over. Nothing, so let's have stations with figure 1. Figure 1 in their call sign, please. This is G4NRC, over.
Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, Peter in Aberdeen. I'm on call again this week, but I'll stay with you. If I don't reply in the next round, you'll know the radio's interrupted me. Over.
G4NRC, copied Peter. Golf Mike 1 X-Ray Echo Alpha, so hopefully get you on the first round. Any other ones, please? G4NRC, over.
M1 CYT in Bedfordshire, Steve.
Mike 1 Charlie Yankee Tango. Good afternoon, Steve. Coming in via the YSF bridge this afternoon, and audio sounded okay. Right, now for the fun stuff, let's go for the Mike 0 stations. Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. This is G4NRC, over.
There's Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee. Good afternoon, Greg.
Mike 0 Tango Golf Charlie David East Devon. In and out, please, Greg. Over.
Mike 0 India Tango Mike, Andy in Cornwall with Shirley M0 Whiskey X-Ray Golf. In and out, thank you, Greg.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, Philip in Northern Ireland.
Okay, G4NRC. So good afternoon to Guy. Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee staying with me. David, Mike 0 Tango Golf Charlie. copied in and out. I've received your email about the QO100 exercise yesterday, and thanks for that. Andy and Shirley, Mike Zero India Tango Mike and Mike Zero Whiskey X-Ray Golf, both in and out as well. And Philip, Mike India Zero, Mike Sierra Oscar. Good afternoon to you, staying with me. Any other Mike Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, over? For an RC, it's like fishing. You never know how many you're going to pull out in any particular attempt. Right, no more Mike Zeros. Let's have the Golf Zero stations. Golf Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and RC, over.
Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Name is Andy, Raynet Pembrokeshire. Good afternoon, Greg. No traffic today, so in and out, please. Over.
G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Copy you in and out. Any other Golf Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, over? G4 and RC. Then any UK stations who missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC. Now take us on that attempt. Any international liaison stations, usually Arran in Ireland, Nord-Samband of Norway, areas of Slovakia, any of our international colleagues with us. G4 and RC, over.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, LA 6 AM. Good afternoon, Hans. Copied you. You had no choice really after being called in before the net. Just noticed a lot of packet loss on the Brandmeister side of the transmission, but you sounded reasonable on the UK side. Just watch for that in subsequent overs. Any other stations, international or UK, who've missed their turn to call into the net, please call now. G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, Echo India 5, India Echo Bravo. It's Tom here in Dublin, Greg. No traffic for me, so in and out.
Echo India 5, India Echo Bravo, G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Tom. Copied you in and out. I'll have to keep an eye on your Slack chat of our own for the HF tests I think you were trying to do on Friday evening, but I'll get the story by osmosis of what happened. Okay, that I think completes the check-ins. We've got all our strays. So, good afternoon. The net is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH, to YouTube today as usual. Live stream and recording are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on YouTube. If you want to know what your audio sounds like, it's a good way of testing how you sound in comparison to other people. There's no video stream from me again this week, which will obviously help you focus on what's going on rather than me. Two news items of sorts. Ofcom, our illustrious regulator, have migrated their portal login to a different URL this weekend. So if you need to do anything with your licensing status, like verify your address and so on, the new location is https://ofcomlive.my.site.com/licensing.com login, all one word. Now that's horrible, and you'll find the links have been updated on the RSGP website to get you to the right place. So if you've got any need to change your license details, just be aware it may have changed on you this weekend. The consultation on new licensing conditions is still open. There have been a few hours of meetings already with RSGB this week, as has Philip, Mike India Zero, Mike Sierra Oscar, what the consequences of the changes may be. One certainty is that we'll need to make some noise about the apparent reduction in user services to just the Cat 1 and 2 responders and challenge why. Guidance will be out soon, because it has to be, to get your responses back in time. But there are two key must-dos. I'm just going to take a break, make sure I don't time out. G4 and RC, our must-dos are be unique. We won't be providing standard text to reply. Responses have to be personal. If they all start looking alike, then they get discarded en masse. So when you respond, for example, on the apparent reduction in user services, then use local statistics and opinions about how many events are supported by the voluntary sector rather than the Cat 1 and 2s. And the other thing to note is a lot of the questions are for yes-no style answers. But phrase your responses carefully, because if you say yes but, it'll be taken as a yes. If you don't agree with something, don't be polite. If you say no but, a response will get noted, and you're going to give them the solution in the but part. So, that's the first pass. I'm relieved Philip's with us today, because he might confirm what I've just said. And we'll victimise others as we go around the net, starting at the top with Mike. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC from G8 EY. Yes, yeah, we keep getting all these changes of URLs. I must check into that. I'm not sure whether I've already done it or not. But yes, definitely need to do some responses to certainly the user services list. It seems much reduced. Yeah, weather here, 22.3 Celsius, 1009 millibars, 41% relative humidity, 57% cloud cover, but the rain hasn't arrived yet. It certainly will soon, because there's 19 miles per hour wind from 253 degrees. And it looks like Wednesday here is going to be stormy. We've got the 37% lightning risk during the afternoon on Wednesday with heavy rain. From G8 EEY.
Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC. Okay, all copies. I think traffic will agree. I've got all the bits in all the right order today. Cheshire is 100% cloud cover and rain. Don't know what the temperature is. But stormy. Coming to, guys, is you're looking at the ground weather one. There is a space weather event which is likely to cause geomagnetic storms for HF users. I think the impact time for that is the 1st of August. So that's Tuesday. So, yes, it could be a fun week in a variety of ways. Okay, thanks, Mike. Next to Phil. Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, G4 and RC, over.
Yes, G4 and RC from G8 KLC, Lincolnshire. Not much to add. Okay, on changing URLs again. That's worth knowing. Hopefully there'll be some assistance where if you get hit the old one, it redirects you or tells you that it's in the wrong place. But we'll see what happens when we try. And okay on responding to Ofcom. I have to admit, didn't notice that when I had a read through. No, I tell a lie. I didn't read through. I watched the YouTube from, and I've forgotten the guy's name, from the ISGB. It was a good YouTube, but I don't remember him mentioning the user services. So it means I do have to need to read it. I'll do that later on. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything else. Thanks, Greg. G4 and RC, G8 KLC.
Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, G4 and RC. Okay, no, this is the joy or not joy. It's a specialist topic, so it's with us to respond. RSGB are supportive. I've got another meeting, as is Philip, on Wednesday. when we need to go back with some of the RAYNET specific stuff, and if we can agree the wording, then it will be sort of going out to everybody with, or the RSGB will support the RAYNET response and vice versa. For the things that are not quite right. There's a lot of stuff in the license that changes. It's a 101-page consultation document. The change of URL for the license system could be an indication that some of the underpinning changes to regional secondary locators and stuff could happen quite quickly if the consultation goes ahead as planned. So yeah, we will need to draw out a few other things which need to be discussed as well. But I have to update Com on this as well first. And it's just been a bit busy. Okay, getting to the next one, Phil. Next to Graham, and start, please, today, Graham, with the YouTube viewer figures. G7NEH, G4 and RC. Over.
G4 and RC, G7NEH returning. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to all on the net. So last week's viewing figures were a total of 34 views and 3 likes. And this week so far, we've had 6 views and there's 4 live viewers at the moment and 1 like. So that's the viewing figures. Not a lot to add at this end, as you commented before. In Cheshire, it's actually raining at the moment, which caught me by surprise because I just nipped outside and wasn't expecting it to rain, but looks like it's been raining for a while. But there we go. Okay, with that, back to you, G4 and RC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4 and RC returning. Okay, thanks, Graham. YouTube figures are holding steady, and I forgot to comment that with 21 check-ins today for the net, we seem to have got out of our initial holiday lull of people finding other things to do. And we're back up to 72 connected peers today and 14 repeaters, so staying fairly stable. Right, next for the Raspberry Pi availability forecast, please, Dave. Keeping an eye on things. Any sign of any Raspberry Pi 4s coming through, do you think? Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good evening, Greg. Good afternoon, sorry. Yeah, I agree with Graham. The weather's just turned here in Castle. Last 20 minutes, half an hour, has been sort of rain showers. Raspberry Pi 4s, I've not had an email off the Pineput who I have subscribed to, but I don't know whether I actually expressed an interest in the Pi 4 in itself. But there's been a couple of emails on the RAYNET HF this afternoon about some other topics, and Pi 4s did come up, and somebody did say they are freely available again at the moment, Greg. Back to you, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 NRC. Okay, yeah, I've been on IARU meetings this afternoon, and I've got more this evening, so I've seen some of the HF list emails fly by, and it was just getting a bit interesting about available or not available. So when we get one, I might be upgrading my Radio Pi to something with a bit more memory and see what else I can do. Okay, thanks, Dave. Next to Chris, Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC, over.
Good afternoon, Greg and everyone. Yeah, I've just looked on Pi Hut and they've got the Pi 4s in stock at the moment. Although I've noticed a lot of YouTube sites where they're recommending using these thin clients instead of Pis. But of course, if you're using the GPIO, that's not really an option. Still using my GM340 hotspot, using the POG board. Having adjusted the timeout on the GM340 to be a bit more lenient. It seems to be working okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that. Nothing more to add today, Greg, so you can miss me out on the next time around. G4 NRC from G6PDE.
Try again. Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4 NRC. Okay, thanks for the hints. I'll have to find some spending pennies. The GM340 hotspot is sounding good, and of course we're looking forward in some ways to a bit of a new license, because it will make deploying these things a lot easier with the massive license relaxation in some ways for how gateways and stuff could be deployed. So good luck, and noted you out. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully. Next to Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, G4 KIL. Thanks very much there. Not too much report from this end. It's dry at the moment here in Brighton and Hove. Have had rain through the day. Now on and off. Interested in what you're saying about the change of user services and so on. I was going to say, perhaps you could put that down into an email or something. But I suppose actually, if this is being recorded, then I could listen to it again on the YouTube and make the notes from there, as it were. I admit to not concentrating terribly hard because I'm trying to do something else at the same time. As far as our group's concerned, I think we've had all our events now until the 1st of October, and then we start getting a few more then. But we've got a bit of a gap now. A nice social event coming up on Tuesday evening for anyone that's in this area. Well, get in touch quickly if you want to be involved with that, and we would need to know who's coming in, as it were. Yeah, I think that's probably from me at the moment, but I'll wait till it comes around again before signing out, probably G4 NRC, G4 KL.
G4KIL, G4 NRC. Okay, enjoy the social. Hopefully the weather stays on your side. It is funny, groups do seem to have different seasons. My group very much is a spring and autumn group for events and not much through the summer. Amateur radio as a whole this year is just a bit of a mess because we've got the World Radio Conference taking a lot of resource and time away at the end of November. Region 1, IARU Conference beginning of November. Our own AGMs, emergency planning shows, our own AGMs. It does get a little bit difficult that there's only 52 weekends in the year to do things in. Okay, next to Trevor, who assisted nicely yesterday. Thank you, Trevor, along with M0TGC on the QO100 exercise we did for IARU. So thanks for your help, Trevor. G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC in the group, G4KUJ. Yeah, afternoon, Greg, and everybody else. Yeah, pleasure to be able to take part yesterday. That was good, and the equipment at this end certainly was holding up well. I've been doing some long-term frequency accuracy checks with my system now that both the Icon transceiver and the transverter are all locked to a GPS standard, and using FLDigi as the sort of medium, and looking at the frequency offset indicator that you get when you receive a signal. I'm in a situation where I can just dial up a frequency, hit the buttons, and so far I have not seen a frequency offset of greater than plus or minus 30 Hertz, which is well within the capture range of certainly Olivia. So quite pleased with that. That as far as I'm concerned, I've got a system which is plug and play, dial in the parameters, and off you go. The only other thing is, from your text this morning, I have had something from Jeff later in the morning. So thanks for that. Nothing further from the moment, so back to you from G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4 and RC. Okay, thanks for that. And it's good if you know you're only going to be plus or minus 30 off. A lot of the data modes will fall over if it's more than plus or minus 100 or 200 hertz. One thing that also came up slightly yesterday, LORAN, the low frequency navigation system that used to be a staple of the maritime bands, and for which we had some very noisy transmitters for in the UK. Ofcom have decided to license LORAN transmitters again in the 100 kilohertz area. Part of the reason isn't just navigation, but it's the vulnerability of GPS. So people are looking far harder at how you have stable time and frequency and location tracking. So while it's great to have a GPS lock, I wonder how long it'll take us before we can actually sort that out against something ground-based as well, just in case any blocking happens. Having gently waved that gauntlet around before throwing it down, we'll move on to Ian. Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC and the group, G3ZHX, good afternoon to all. I just had a quick look at the Ofcom website. There's no indication of the new URL. Don't bother repeating it. I'll pick it up from the recording after we've closed down. And as far as LORAN's concerned, I'm sorry to hear they're coming back. I well remember the racket we used to get from them. I believe there is still one LORAN station active, reading comments from Peter G. PLX elsewhere. And this may seem odd because you need 3, I believe, to get a fix, but it's transmitting GPS corrections, so that may also be a reason for licensing further LORAN stations. Anyway, with that, I'll hand it all back to you. Back to G4 NRC, this is G3ZHX.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RC returning. Yes, you're quite right. The UK station active is at Anthorn up in Cumbria, and it has been in use not just doing GPS corrections, but I think it was also sending out time data as well. So I did have a mooch earlier on in the week at how 8 pulses from 2 different stations or 2 different sort of streams was able to send time, and whether anybody managed to decode it yet, but so far no luck. The phrase to look for now, and I only have part of it, is it's a PNT service, positioning navigation and time. That doesn't seem right, but time is very much part of it, as well as the where you are. Right, okay, I got the Ofcom information straight out of Murray Nyman, who posted the RSGB Spectrum Forum list earlier, so we believe Murray. It will have changed somewhere. Okay, now to Peter, Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from GM1XCA. Yes, well, going back to Mike's comments about the weather on Wednesday, I had a quick look at the weather up here. We should be overcast, mid-teens, and quite pleasant for this part of the world. My concern when he was mentioning thunderstorms was we have a outdoor RAYNET event on Wednesday. One we've not done before, so I'm busy trying to do the briefing notes for it on not a lot of knowledge. And yes, license changes, etc. A lot of writing in that paperwork, a lot of repeating of information and things. I think we're meant to get fed up before we finish reading it. But that's a personal opinion. Nothing really to report from up this end. I'm just waffling, so I'd better shut up and put it back to you, Greg. Over.
Mike 1 X-Ray Echo Alpha, G4 and RC. Yeah, there's a lot of information there. It's a fairly root and branch change of a lot of stuff it's ensuring we don't throw babies out with bathwater. That's part of the problem, and the meeting with RSGB was yesterday afternoon, but I've just had so much back-to-back and stuff to get out today. I'll be putting things to COM hopefully tonight, and it will be succinct with a here's where we need to think and see if we get any acknowledgements. Okay, move on to Steve. Mike 1, Charlie Yankee Tango, G4 and RC over.
M1 CYT in the group. Yeah, good afternoon to all, and good afternoon to you, Greg. Yeah, well, it's absolutely raining here. It's been non-stop all afternoon. Like everybody else says, hopefully the winds and that will all calm down. And it'd be good for those who have got events this week, and that it won't dampen the events down. Not a lot from me, but I'll carry on listening. Back to you there. It's M1 CYT in the group.
CYT, G4 and RC. Yeah, okay, Steve. No problem. Catch you on the next round. Guy, Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC and 0 GUI. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, all. Yeah.
G4 and RC, you dropped out with at least 9% packet loss, Guy, over.
G4 and RC and 0 GUI. Not sure what happened there. Back in again now. Yeah, just to say it's been raining here most of the afternoon, fairly steadily. Otherwise, making some good progress on setting up paging. I now have a paging proxy process which can sit inside a Raspberry Pi and listen to both Darknet and RAYNET for paging, and the RAYNET paging server itself is able to authenticate the page, the proxy, and accept pages and push them out. So we're getting close. Next step is obviously the GUI on the front to allow you to register a pager and send paging. We'll also set up an API so you can programmatically post pages to things. What we need to think about is the RIC, the codes that each pager has. Do we go with the .NET ones? Do we do our own? And do we do a hybrid where some are our own, some are the RIC ones? So if you have RIC, do we take RIC? If you don't have RIC, do we allocate one? And then what do we do about groups and group paging? Do we have a RIC per group and send to that, and people register for that RIC? Or do we rewrite? And so every registers for whichever one they want, and then on transmit we send out 100 pages to one to everybody associated with that page group. My preference is obviously a RIC for the group, and then people just register the RIC. It looks like most pages can have 8 or so RICs as programmed, so that would be my preference. Anyway, pause for thought. I did not know about the Ofcom URL change, but fortunately I just refreshed my details a few months back, so that should be good for me. Maybe they'll actually start sending out messages to people to say, hey, are you still there, and do you need to refresh your data? That might be handy. All right, that's it. I shall hand it back to you, Greg, from Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee back to G4 NRC.
Uniform Yankee, G4 and RC returning. Okay, I'm going to have to do some translation for others on the net indirectly, but taking it in reverse order. Ofcom previously, if they wanted to let people know about changes, would post them in the London Gazette and the Edinburgh Gazette and the Belfast Gazette and etc. Now it's very much, if you need to know anything, it'll be on the website. So the odds of them actually actively pinging you, especially when there's no money in it for them, are likely to be quite small. For the benefit of new listeners, RIC codes, RIC codes, are effectively group calls on radio paging systems. So the DAPnet, which is the amateur paging network run by the DARC in Germany, have got a lot of designated RIC codes, but they're only a certain number of digits long. So thinking to mess with guys' thought processes, there's limitations how many we can have in the system, and I'd really like this to fit into the 50 prefix, or not fit into, but if we have a 50 prefix for DMR codes, is there something we can do with a 5152 or a 53 that would allow us then to maybe hop a gateway from DMR into paging like the German system does? So I can send pages to DMR handsets, and DMR pages can send, or DMR radios can send pages to radio pages. So the interfacing is key, or a minefield, whichever comes easier. Right, 2 to go on the list, and then we go back to the top. So Philip, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, over to you. G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC MI0 MSO. Good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else on the net. Yes, the couple of points that were mentioned there, the new URL for the Ofcom license and portal. I went to it earlier and it automatically redirected to the new one. Now, just for information, I've also posted that on the chat in the YouTube. I'm not sure if it's come up properly or not. But for those that save their details or have a password manager, you will have to redo that. It took me about 7 or 8 seconds, so it was quite simple. Yes, license changes, etc. could be interesting. But as Greg said, we have been on a few calls with Spectrum Forum, and there's a few more to come up. Just for people's information, the RSGB are running, as well as the video that Murray put out, RSGB are running 2 open forums as part of their Tonight at 8 series on the next 2 Monday nights. So tomorrow night it will concentrate on issues for foundation and intermediate licenses, and next Monday night at 8 o'clock it will concentrate on information for full license holders. So it is an open forum where you can ask questions online or submit beforehand. It had to be Friday there for this week, but you can do it on the night. So I would encourage people to, maybe if they had time, tune into that and watch them to get information maybe that will be put in more plain English, because there is a lot in that document. It can get there, so I'm trying to digest it. But as Greg says, no doubt the COM will put information out that are going to affect us from a RAYNET point of view, which will be very helpful for those who haven't replied. But please, please, please do reply to the consultation. Okay, that's all for now, Greg. Back to you from MI0 MSO.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC returning. Okay, yeah, thanks. I knew there was something else I was meant to promote, so the tonight at 8 sessions were it, so that was helpful. Thanks for it. And yeah, it's another hour out of time to do that, but we shall see how we progress. Right, sorry, I shall pass it over to Hans next. I'm thinking, license changes in the UK? What the worst they could do now? Lima Alpha 6, India Mike, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, Lima Alpha 6.
Alpha 6 India Mike, G4 and RC, lots of packet loss, Hans, lost you after the first couple of words, over.
Just a quick note on your request for C4, C5 papers. I thought you gave us a very short time limit to process this, especially as it is summer holidays, but I hope you will get an answer in due time. So that's it for me. 73 story, and I'll try to be back on next Sunday. G4 and I'll see you. Email for 6 in the mic.
G4 and RC. Okay, I'm wondering which bit the short time was, Hans, so I might give you a shot after the net to see what's going on, but for the benefit of everybody else, IAU Region 1 conference in November breaks into 3 committees of any note, one for admin, one for VHF matters and one for HF matters. I've been requested for many years to provide an update paper of how Region 1 emergency comms groups use frequencies, and I asked at the beginning of July for people to make inputs, got nothing, put a draft paper out at the beginning of the week with I need input, and then started to get some inputs, and I've got 2 drop-in sessions, one of which has already happened, one this evening, for any final change to be made before the papers get submitted by the closing date of the 1st of August. So I decided to do this earlier, but I didn't get any responses, so I'm not sure quite how it's got to you, but that's where it is. I asked, got no answers, and now I'm getting the answers at the last minute. Okay, thanks for that. We shall trot around to the top of the list again and see if we spawned any other discussion. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 EEY. Yes, all noted. I checked back and I have done the change for the URL for Ofcom. And lo and behold, the page that it goes to is exactly the one that you get the other way, with the important notice still in red at the top. So I don't think they've fully done everything, but I'm certainly done that upgrade. Where else am I? Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember from the 60s, Loran, although I must admit at the time the Russian woodpecker was way worse. But, yeah, that's always a problem. It's interesting that we don't seem to be taking time data from MSF or was it DCF, the German one, both of which we can get in Norfolk. I've never been truly happy with timing from GPS. I mean, it's on coming from satellites that do move around. They may only wobble a bit, but that's definitely going to put phase delay on timings if you want things that are really accurate. I think that's about it for me today. 73 to everybody from G8 EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC. Okay, yeah, the thing is, it's the LoRaN, as you kind of identified, the Russian woodpecker being the pulse transmissions that annoyed HF users. LoRaN's impact on amateur radio is down at the 136 kilohertz area because it's a bit close to a 400 kilowatt or more transmitter, banging out pulses for navigation, etc. MSF timing and DCF 77 timing on 60 kilohertz is good. I'm not sure it gets down to the millisecond accuracies the way the pulses are sent out, because they are 1 second pulses that generally get transmitted, and you're looking at a secondary standard, whereas the pulse repetition frequency of the LoRaN style transmitters may give slightly more accuracy, but I'm guessing, because I've been looking at this purely as I've got a LoRaN viewer on my web SDR, and I've never quite seen the point of it because it can't actually give you any navigation information or time. It just lets you see some pulses on a trace. However, it keeps me quiet and lets me prove the signal-to-noise ratio at home from time to time. Okay, thanks, Mike. As you've heard, you'll get an email from me sometime later. Next down to Phil, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, G8 KLC. Yeah, okay, Greg, thanks for the translation from Guy.
What completely confused me was the reference to what I heard as being the dark net, as in not light but dark, and to me that means something completely different. What I hadn't realised was you meant the dark net, as in the Deutsche Amateur Radio Club. At least I'm assuming it's that one he meant. But that confused me. Once it was cleared up, then I was happier again. No comments on Varan. Don't remember too much of a problem. And doesn't surprise me that it came back. And yeah, when you think of the other problems they're having, I don't think there was anything else that triggered a comment. So I'll say best 7-3s and talk to you all next week with luck from GAKLC. Oh, and it's not raining here at all. In fact, it's been a lovely sunny afternoon most of the time from GAKLC. 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, Chief for an RC, and if anybody doesn't recognise gloating, you just heard it there, but he said no rain. Okay, thanks, Phil. Nice to sun shining on you, even if it never gets to me. We'd look at Loran as a system because it's the one that seemed to die off last, I think. But we should also remember we had a UK equivalent called the Decca Navigator that sat down around 70 kilohertz from the research I did the other day, and I had a Decca Navigator transmitter station not that far away from me here on the D estuary, just outside Chester. So people focused on Loran, but our own Decca system is probably just as annoying for people, given the power it ran. But they were some very nice transmitter sites with some very good earth mats. Okay, 7-3s to you, and thanks to Graham, G7 and EH, G for an RC, over. G4, G7, okay, and not a lot more to add from this end. Total views today are 6, and there's 4 of you at the moment. So yeah, not much else to add from this end, Greg. So thanks for doing the net, and no doubt we'll catch you in the week. G4 and RC, G7 and EH. G7 and EH, G4 and RC, and thanks to you for doing the YouTube stream, Graham. At least it's holding stable quite nicely. Okay, and over to M7 AVO with thanks, because he's dropped a link to the Pi Hut for me to Raspberry Pi 4s. So now I know where to go, and hopefully they're still there. M7 AVO with G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, M7 AVO. Yeah, no problem, Greg. There's 2 4 and 8 gig 4Bs in stock at the moment. So depending on how the pennies are, but there's looks pretty good availability for the higher memory ones. So might be worth a look if you've got a chance. Not a lot more to add here. Just a little bit further on, you said there's some solar activity. After reading something earlier on online, I believe we're going to have some spectacular blue moon showings this next few days. So whether that is all part of this solar activity, I'm not 100% sure. It's not one of my top subjects, but it might be something to look out for if we get some decent clear skies this week. But no, I'll leave it now, and I will hopefully speak to you on Saturday evening for our local 2-meter net. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
G4 and RC, we'll try that again without the massive squawking. Okay, thanks, Dave. Yes, I should be around for the West Cheshire RAYNET group net on the 5th, and There's various conflicting activities, but at the moment it's all looking good for some playtime. I've just looked at the link, and the one I want, there's only 10 available, so if anybody else dares go on the Pi Hut now and steal 10 Pi 4s, I hate you. But yeah, I want to get the fullest, fastest Raspberry Pi 4 I can, just to try and run some of the better SDR software more than anything else, and then we'll see what other joys it gives me. So yes, that might be a little bit of spending this evening. Okay, thanks Dave. Next to Philip. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC and G4 KL. Yeah, all very good. Did think a few more comments just to put in. First one I think is, I don't know if my call sign came up on the dashboard last week. I was sort of half planning to come in, but I only had a handheld with me, and I think that, well, I know the handheld's only programmed to get up for the Brandmeister channel, whereas the hotspot has got both on it, and I think that it didn't work. I could see the green light coming up whenever anyone was talking, but I couldn't hear anything. So I suspect I might have gone in, but couldn't hear anything coming back. So I just need to reprogram that. But I have some issues with the program, which is just down to me to sort it out, really. But well, it's a nuisance with Windows and drivers and things, I think, getting the programming to work. But just interested to know if anybody did notice it come up last week. No, probably didn't. The other slight comment was, I know I've been missing off HFNet the last month or two, I think. Hopefully get back in this one. Not this Tuesday, because as I mentioned already, we've got our local Southwest Group social, so I won't be able to come up on the first. But it'll be Mondays from then on. I should be able to come on. Might be needing to duck out quite quickly at about 8:30, because that is when our local net starts. But we'll plan to be involved there. And just one interesting note, the 28th, we can remember it again, we get closer to that, I think it's a bank holiday, so the data net looks like we'll be in the middle of the afternoon instead of the evening for the HF. Okay, I'll leave you there, say 73s all, and thanks for listening on the net, thanks for running the net, Greg. Speak to you again, hopefully you'll be up next week. G4NRC, G4KL.
Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC returning. There we go. Right, I don't recall seeing your call sign pop up on the dashboard last week. A error, a mission over Optimism about logging. Every log sheet is new, effectively, on the when we log the DMR. So it's the same sheet as a save a copy, then flush it, so we can't readily go back and see who's attended when and where. There is other web control software, and we've had web control software through the dashboard, but the one we use at the moment is good for Trevor and I both to tap away into the log, but not so good for looking back and searching for things. So we must try and do better on that. Yes, the HFNet is nicely timed for the bank holiday, and we've got a lot more activity, but the data modes, positive and negative at the moment online. So let's see if we can harness some of that on a nice sunny Monday at the end of it. Okay, thanks Philip. Next to Trevor for a final and to comment on my standard of logging for the day. G4 KUJ, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC in the group, G4 KUJ. Yeah, okay everybody. Interesting chat this afternoon. Yeah, logging looks pretty good to me. Capturing what people have said, that's great. The question of GPS and what happens if it disappears, I have also done some measurements on the QO100 without the GPS, and although the icon transceiver is pretty good, the transverter from 77 to 2.4 gigs does move around a bit as it warms up, but even so, it's usually within about 300-400 hertz. But the other thing is the Bodnar GPS standard. If it loses GPS, it reverts to its internal 10 meg reference, and that, as I must go back and look at the figures, would be a lot better than the transverter stability. So probably still be under control. I must have a look at that. Apart from that, nothing further, so I'll sign out, but we'll listen and log until the end, and I'll fire up the backdoor station tomorrow night, which has got one message in my outbox for you. G4NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4NRC. Okay. Yes, they fall back to an internal frequency standard. Just put in mind for me the loss or future loss of another system, because I've got a 10 megahertz oscillator which would phase lock itself to BBC Radio 4 long wave. Of course, when that transmitter disappears, as it's likely to do over the next couple of years max, then that's another atomic clock locked frequency reference that won't be available to us. So, okay, good on the 300 to 400 hertz though, Trevor. That would be a bit more of a challenge for data modes to pick up on, but why we think about these things and prepare against them. Okay, next to Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC in the group, G3ZHX. You just mentioned Radio 4 going off air. I saw an announcement from the BBC which I think said it's planned to take it off air next year. But knowing that my turn was coming up next, I didn't have time to Google that. You may wish to follow it up or just wait for it to go. And apart from that, have you any idea why they think GPS would disappear other than a Carrington event? Because I think the road's going to get awfully quiet if it does. From experience on a road closure some years ago, almost nobody is carrying a map in their car now. And we had a lot of trouble with people saying, oh yeah, okay, I understand I have to go round there, but I don't know where to go. And trying to explain maps to them in the air whilst managing an event was really quite interesting. Anyway, I'll stop waffling and leave you there. This is Golf 3. Oh, and thanks for running the net, Greg. And thanks to Trevor for logging. And that's it then, G3ZHX, going back to standby.
G4NRC, that's twice it's happened to me now, where a perfectly good transmission has died off after a second. Yeah, I was not being emphatic at Radio 4 Longwave comes off air next year, but I think Radio 4 Longwave listeners are aware shipping forecast has disappeared for a couple of sessions. Some of the other opt-outs, like crickets, will disappear if they haven't already. So Radio 4 Longwave will mirror Radio 4 VHF for quite a few months, and then Longwave will get turned off. And you're right, it is next year, but you never know, things might just drag on a bit. GPS uncertainties and unreliabilities come around because of jamming. People may choose to jam, as they do in certain environments, GPS to mess up systems. Space weather events also do affect GPS systems, so people who have certain kinds of trackers on their ankles, there have been issues where a solar flare has disrupted the ionosphere and the timing signals enough that it's made them look like they're quite a few meters away from where they're allowed to be. So the GPS signal is not, it's not a perfect master. So that's why there's some thought about having a terrestrial backup that's harder to interfere with and take offline, and VLF certainly fits that category. Okay, 732 Ian, not many left to the finals. So Peter, Golf Mike 1 X-Ray Echo Alpha, G4NRC, over.
M1XCA. Yeah, nothing really to add. It's been an interesting conversation today. I'm glad I've been left in peace to listen to it. And talking about being left in peace, the cat's just walked in, so I won't be left in peace for very long, being tea time. So 73 still ever be on the net, and thanks for organising it, Greg. I'll just put it straight back to you. Over.
G4 NRC returning. Okay, no problem, Peter. Have a good rest of the evening. Hopefully the radio stays silent. Of course, you can solve that by not putting a battery in it. Next, then, for a final, Steve. Mike 1, Charlie Yankee Tango, G4 NRC.
M1 CYT. Yeah, I'm going to say 73 because we've got a little household here. We've had our dogs have got 8 puppies, and so it's their playtime at the moment, and they're running riots and everything else. So I will say 73, and thank you for running it, and I will listen, and we'll catch you next week. Thank you very much for all.
One Charlie Yankee Tango, G4 NRC returning. Okay, yes, I think I could hear the puppies in the background. I got distracted a little while ago because our 2 dogs decided to have a mad half hour, so peace has broken out, so I should really think about what have they done now. 7-3 Steve, talk to you next week. Over to Guy, I suppose, with the question of when are you going to start pinging my pager with interesting stuff then? Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC and 0G. Well, yeah. If you are or anybody is interested in joining the early alpha testing, then please drop me an email, and in the preceding days I shall provide some documentation about how to get yourself set up, and then you can try doing stuff and report back. And we do need to start widening the test scope. So yeah, absolutely. If you've got things you want to see, then let me know. And if you are willing to experience some maddening messages, then likewise, just drop me a note, and I'll happily provide some details about how to get things set up. Otherwise, nothing more from me, I don't think, at the moment. So I shall say thank you very much for running the net, Greg, and 73s to all from Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee. Goodbye all.
Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee, G4 NRC. No problem, thanks, Guy. And yes, well, you know my pager works, so just let me know what I need to do. Okay, closing up the net today for finals is Philip. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, MI0, MSO. Yeah, I think I said enough earlier. Nothing more to add. Just hopefully some people will join the Tornado Dates and ask some good questions. So thank you, Greg, and talk again soon. 7-3.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 NRC. Yeah, no problem. I shall have to see how my night falls apart tomorrow, so I might not be live. I might have to watch the repeat at more like midnight, but we'll see how it goes. And of course, Philip, I'll see you Wednesday at the next one. So, thanks for your support. Thanks everybody for coming on the net today and taking time out to participate. I'll close the net now, saying be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return 23531 Pheonix and Brandmeister and 5023531 RAYNET-UK to being an open net rather than a directed net. 7-3 all, this is G4 NRC now.